Joel and Gary are from Montana. You can tell because you don't see a lot of these on the streets of New York. Gary, this was actually your idea, this gun law. You started it. Tell me the theory behind it.
Well, the theory is to challenge the Commerce Clause power of Congress with the 10th Amendment spin. What the bill says, is now the law in Montana, is that any firearms, ammunition, and firearms accessories made and retained in Montana are simply not subject to any federal jurisdiction under the power of Congress to regulate commerce among the states.
Okay. Joel, you put this in. You're a state rep. You put it in. The governor signed it. It's now law. It goes into effect October 1st?
Correct.
Okay. Why did you do this?
Well, I believe that the purpose of government is to protect our life, liberty, and our property. And when I saw this idea, I've been aware that the federal government has been overreaching in its power for a long time. And I thought, you know, this is something that appeals to me. And I didn't go to the legislature to be a rubber stamp for more regulation. I went there to protect people's freedom. And this is a great vehicle to do that.
Okay, so Gary, how does this work now? I go in and I buy. I mean, I don't have to have a federal background check on guns if this goes in?
Once this begins to bear fruit, that's correct. We plan to litigate this through the courts, and we have some other strategies we're working on to effectuate this, but we all have to wait until it's resolved in the courts, I think.
Okay, well, what would you guys say if I said to you, well, I think a background check, not necessarily a bad idea? You know, I don't want some guy walking in going, oh my God. I was in a gun store in Pennsylvania. And this girl, I'm not kidding you, two people walked in, some, 20-year-old dope and his girlfriend, and he's like, well, what do you want? And she said, I don't know, that one's kind of cute, the pink one, I like that one. And I just looked at the guy behind the counter, I said, don't sell them a firearm. He did. I mean, I think we should have some standards. What do you say about standards, having some kind of standard?
Well, we don't have those kind of people in Montana, or at least...
You know what, I've been to Montana. You're right. You're right.
At least we have fewer of them than you do, and we want to set our own. We want to set our own standards. Who should be allowed to have guns, and we don't want the federal standards. We're not the same as New Jersey or California or somewhere else. And if we want to put restrictions on who can possess firearms, they should be our restrictions and fit our culture and our people.
But people will say, Kevin and Judge, people will say, well, we're all part of a union. We all have to work together. Kevin, you're smiling like this doesn't have a shot in hell of working.
Well, there are two levels on which you have to approach this question. One is a theoretical level. On a theoretical level, the gentlemen are exactly right that the federal government is grabbing power to regulate these things and anything else that comes to mind that it's not supposed to have, and so I applaud them. And trying to figure out a way to confront the federal government and get it to rein itself in is a good idea. On the other hand, practically, first time this matter comes into a federal court, it's tossed.
Judge?
Well, I think the more states that do it, the more pressure there will be on the Congress to realize that the states are serious about preventing the Congress from taking power away from it. For example, if this were extended in another step further, like the state of Montana forbids all police, local, regional, and state, from enforcing federal laws in Montana. The federal government simply lacks the resources and the money to enforce all of its laws without the states helping them. So the more piling on there is, the more judges will realize something's going on here.
Leah, let me go to you, because you're a representative in the state of Texas.
State of Texas.
With Texas, you guys get it. And no offense, Montana, but Texas is going to come up and kick your butts. You guys are also, have you taken Gary's amendment? Is that what you're trying to do, or what are you doing in Texas?
We've already filed his bill in Texas, but he'll have the court case in Montana. But, Glenn, I'm a 9 to 12er, served 22 years in the military because I love this country just like you do. And we see that we fought against fascism, communism. We watched socialist countries throughout the world just languish while we prospered based on free enterprise and individual freedom. We see this president and administration taking us not to the far left, but beyond that to socialism. We don't want to go there. So Representative Brandon Creighton and I filed 2 bills in Texas The bills don't really need to pass because 30 other states did essentially the same thing. But what these bills do is reassert our sovereignty under the 9th and 10th Amendments. And we tell the federal government that if they mandate anything on us which is not fully authorized by the U.S. Constitution, we're going to challenge it and not do it. That's the only thing that we can possibly do right now. We don't want to become a socialist state. We want to challenge the federal government, and I think we can do it if we get all the state governors together to pool their resources, and anytime the federal government comes out with a mandate that's not authorized by the Constitution, we take it right into federal court, all of us at the same time.
Okay.